Hello.
Hello.
This is an interview, so please introduce yourself.
I'm Judy Haney.
Okay, speak up a little bit.
My name is Judy Haney.
Yes, and when did you get in Scientology?
It was 1969.
1969?
1969. I was living in Ohio at the time, and my husband at the time's friend that he worked with, a coworker, introduced us and took us to Detroit, Michigan. And I did it's been so long ago, I did the comm course, I did the HSDC, did a lot of auditing. Then we went to Los Angeles, to the LA org, and I trained up to class 4. And I also worked for the Guardian's Office.
Okay.
And then my husband traveled, so to make more money, we did a couple jobs. One was in Turkey, and then we went to Brazil. And in the meantime, when I was in Brazil, my mother passed away, so I went back to Ohio. And I wanted to stay connected with Scientology, so I went to the Church of Scientology of Cincinnati. And it was terrible.
But so far, did you enjoy what you were doing and experiencing so far?
I was flying. I went clear. I was a class 4 auditor. I had the briefing course paid for up to OT3, ready to go on. And then when I got stuck there in Cincinnati, the Cincinnati org just had me in ethics all the time. I stayed in ethics. I couldn't get out of ethics. And part of it was that because I worked for the Guardian's Office, I couldn't tell certain things. So I had to have an OT3 auditor who was also in the Guardian's Office. And there wasn't any such thing. So they were badgering me to get auditing, and I couldn't. And I couldn't tell them why. So I was in ethics. So I finally just blew. I just couldn't take it.
I see, okay. And what did you do since? When was it when you left? What year was it?
1980.
80, that was about like 30 years ago? Okay, and what happened? Did you blew Scientology as well, or like?
Yes, I just blew. I hid. I changed my name. I wouldn't answer, so they would stop calling me. I hid.
Yeah.
For 30 years I hid. And then I found the free zone about 3 years ago.
3 years ago. What happened? How did you find out about the prison?
Well, actually, my ex-husband told me about it. And so I got connected with a few people, had a good ethics handling from Chris Parker. He's in the free zone. And I haven't really done anything since other than go to the conventions and try to stay connected. But I want to do the briefing course.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get my money out of the church to do the briefing course.
Okay. So, what would you suggest somebody who wants to study Scientology? Like, since you know free zone and you know the church, where would you suggest people?
The free zone.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Judy. Judy, I have a question for you. You love Scientology and you had so many wins, so how come you left it?
I think it was just a whole lot of things all at once. My marriage fell apart, and my husband was a Scientologist, so I kind of expected it to stay together. We had some marriage counseling through Scientology, which didn't work. And then he left, and I was just struggling, trying to be a mother to 2 children without a job. The Scientologist at the Cincinnati org kept pressuring me for what little money I did have that I got from my mother's estate when she passed away. And they came 4 and 5 at a time until they had all the money, and I had nothing. And they told me they would feed my children, which they didn't. As soon as I was out of money, they were through with me. And I just gave up. I just left.
Okay, you were mentioning this endless ethic cycle that you were stuck in. What about that? Why didn't it move forward?
Well, I was into ethics because the ethics officer called me a dilettante. He said I wasn't a serious Scientologist because I wanted to get a job to take care of my children, and I wouldn't join staff. I'd already been on staff before and made $1.56 a week. My biggest paycheck, and only paycheck. Usually there was no pay. For 3 weeks there was no pay. So I didn't want to go back into that. I needed to take care of my children. So I took a job, and I was just in the ethics chair, in the ethics chair for weeks, being called names. And I had the secret Guardian's Office mission that I couldn't talk to anyone about, so that was a big withhold, and that kept showing up, and I couldn't talk to the auditor I had, because I needed an auditor who was from the Guardian's Office or an OT3 and above, because I had seen some OT3 materials, and they didn't have any at the Church of Scientology in Cincinnati. They were a Class 4 org, and they didn't have anyone qualified to audit me. So I left.
Well, can you talk now about the Guardian Office? What was it, the mission that you were participating?
The mission I'd rather not, I think, at this point. I'd have to get it all together.
Okay. Did you ever meet Mary Sue Hubbard? Do you know anything about her? Did you work for her?
She was the head of the Guardian's Office. I never met her. My senior was an OT8, I think. And I can't even think of his name now. I know his name was John. I don't know his last name. But he was my senior. And he was in the Guardian's Office also.
Can you tell more about that? I know you were taught to be quiet.
Yes, yes.
But pretty much now you're in the free zone. I think you're free to exercise your right of free speech.
Right, yeah. It's just that I've kept it secret for so long. It's hard to talk about it now. But we had a mission, and the mission was accomplished. And I was no longer in the Guardian's Office by the time I got to Cincinnati. I wasn't working for it, but since they were a Class 4 org, they couldn't audit me because of what had happened in the past. And I couldn't get back to LA. I was kind of stuck in Ohio, and I just couldn't seem to move on the bridge, so I just blew.
All right. At the time when Mary Sue was jailed, imprisoned, what did you do then?
I thought I took my money, and I told someone that it's okay to take my money and donate it to Mary Sue's cause to help her get out of prison. And I thought that happened. But it turned out I found out about 2 years ago that I still have all the money there, which I'm trying to get out of the church now for 1.5 years.
So somehow it didn't go to Mary Sue, huh?
No.
You were working to save the church, right? Mm-hmm. And then you had to leave the church without being helped. And
yeah, that was the other thing. The Guardian's Office promised compensation, not money. I didn't expect pay, but services, and I never got any services either. So it kind of really hurt me, instead of helping me.
I see. Okay. Okay, thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.